Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we will start the class. Adhikari class. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayim Dadati Subhadantika. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rumpam Sadhanajalam Sagan Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Kavita Shri Vishakam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasa Divoda Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So I would like to welcome the devotees who are present here. Okay. So today we will discuss text 5. Krishneti yasya giridam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatibhischa bhajantamisham shushrushaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya nindadishunya hridamipsita sangalabdhya. Soni Sanjnani Mataji, please
Hare
take
Krishna,
the
Prabhuji.
translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve the pure devotee who is advanced in deviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So, before we proceed to understand this verse properly, I would like to establish the connection between the prior verses we have studied and today's verse. Okay. So what is the connection in the previous verse? The 6 living exchanges between the devotees were discussed. What are they? Dadati pratigrinati guhyamakyati prichati bhumte bhojayate chaiva shat vidam pliti lakshana. These are the 6 living exchanges between the devotees. Okay. And one who performs these 6 living exchanges with the devotees, his success is assured. Prabhupada writes. He is definitely going to achieve the abode of Lord Shri Krishna. Now, in order to properly apply the 6 living exchanges described in the previous verse, one must select proper persons with whom to reciprocate. What kind of Vaishnava should be selected as a friend, and how one should deal with different kinds of Vaishnavas is the subject matter of this verse. All devotees should be respected, but in order to make a spiritual advancement, we must associate with serious devotees and distance ourselves from casual association. So this is the connection between the previous verses, prior verse, and today's verse. So in order to reciprocate with the devotees through these 6 living exchanges, we need to select a proper friend, a proper candidate. It's not that all the devotees are on the same level, but there are gradations between the devotees because their mindset, their shraddha, according to their faith in bhakti, the categories, the devotees are categorized. Okay, so based on their intensity of the faith towards Krishna. So that's why we have, if we want to advance in bhakti, then we need to associate with the serious ones, and we have to keep distance from casual association, whose shraddha, whose faith is very mind or very little. So now here in this verse, mainly, for example, just I will tell you, there are actually 3 categories of the devotees. The very highest type of devotee is Uttama Adhikari, one who is on the highest stage of bhakti. One who is on the midway, okay, in the bhakti process, he is called Madhyama Adhikari. And one who is in the neophyte stage, or whose faith is very little, whose faith is flickering very little and can be changed. So he is called Kanistha Adhikari. In this verse, a Madhyama Adhikari's dealings with these 3 kinds of devotees is being mentioned. Madhyama Adhikari's dealings, how does he deal with these 3 types of devotees? That's been mentioned. So now, Krishneti Yasya Giritam Manasadriyeta. How a Madhyama Adhikari, he will deal with a Kanishta Adhikari or a neophyte devotee. He will mentally honor Sorry for the interruption. Yes. So how a Madhyama Adhikari will deal with another Madhyama Adhikari devotee? Dikshasti chet pranatabhis cha bhajantamisham. He will offer obeisances to the Madhyama devotee who is initiated, who has underwent the Diksha process. Okay, who is initiated and is worshipping the deity. Okay, Dikshasti chet pranitibhis cha bhajantamisham. Then next is how a Madhyama Adhikari will deal with the Uttama Adhikari. Sushrushaya bhajana vigyamananya manya nindadi shunya rhythm ipsita sangalabhya. Okay. So he will associate with, he will honor and faithfully serve an Uttama Adhikari who is undeviated in bhakti. Okay. Who is undeviated in bhakti and whose heart is freed from the propensity to criticize. Anya nindadi shunya hridam ipsita sangalabhya. So these are some of the characteristics of Uttama Adhikari, and a Madhyama Adhikari will deal with Uttama Adhikari in this way. He will associate, he will aspire for this association, and he will honor him. He will offer prostrate obeisances unto Uttama Adhikari, and he will faithfully serve. Okay. Now Prabhupada writes. Okay, Sneha Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Parpat padi Mataji. Parpat.
Perfect. In order to intelligently apply the sixfold loving reciprocation mentioned in the previous verse, one must select proper person with careful discrimination. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore advised that we should meet with the Vaishnavas in an appropriate way according to their particular status. Description
Yes.
of three types of
That's
devotees.
what yeah. 1 second. So that's what the connection between the prior verse and this verse Prabhupada just mentioned. Yes, go on, Mataji.
In this verse, he tells us how to deal with three types of devotees. The Kanistha Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. The Kanistha Adhikari is a neophyte who has received the Harinama initiation from the spiritual master. Second, and it's trying to chant the holy name of Krishna. Madhyam Adhikari dealing, one should respect such a person within his mind as a
Kanistha Vaishnava.
Kanistha Vaishnava.
Yeah, 1 second. So Prabhupada is writing that who is a Kanistha Adhikari? He has received Harinama Diksha from spiritual master and is trying to chant the holy name of Krishna. Okay. And also, eventually, Prabhupada, he will quote the verses from 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the qualifications of, the characteristics of Kanistha Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari are discussed. So there we will actually get more broader idea who is actually Kanistha Adhikari. Even though he has received Diksha, even though he's trying to chant holy name, but his mental attitude, okay, his mindset. Yes. Sneha Mataji.
A Madhyam Adhikari. A Madhyam Adhikari has received spiritual initiation from the spiritual master and has been fully engaged by him in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The Madhyama Adhikari should be considered to be situated midway in devotional service.
Yes. So Madhyama Adhikari, who is Madhyama Adhikari? What is the characteristic? He has received Diksha from spiritual master and is fully engaged by Guru in the service, transcendental loving service of the Lord. And a Madhyama Adhikari is situated in the midway, Madhyama, between, in the midway in devotional service. He's not on the stage of Kanistha and not on the stage of Uttama. He is in the midway. Okay. Eventually, it will become more clear. Yes.
The
Uttama Adhikari.
The Uttama Adhikari or highest devotee is one who is very advanced in devotional service, and Uttama Adhikari is not interested in blaspheming others. His heart is completely clean and he has attained the realized state of unalloyed Krishna consciousness. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, the association and service of such a Mahabhagavata or perfect Vaishnava are most desirable.
Yes. So, who is Uttama Adhikari? He is very advanced in devotional service. He is situated on a very advanced level in devotional service, and he is not interested in blaspheming others. Uttama Adhikari is not interested in blaspheming others. His heart is completely clean. Okay.
One should
Okay.
not.
Yeah, one second. Saurabh Prabhu, you can. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, one should
Hare
remain a Kanistha Adhikari from there.
Purport by Shri Prabhupada ki jai. One who is on the platform of devotional service and is interested only in worshipping the deity in the temple. Such a devotee is described in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.47. Arachyam eva haraye pujam yaha shraddhaya hete na tad bhakteshu kanyeshu sa bhaktha praktraha sumitraha. A person who is very faithfully engaged in the worship of the deity in the temple, but who does not know how to behave toward devotees or people in general, is called Prakarta Bhakta or Kanistha Adhikari. One therefore has to raise himself.
1 second.
Hare Krishna.
1 second. Yes, 1 second.
Yeah.
So, Prabhupada is writing that one should not remain a Kanistha Adhikari. So, eventually, a person who comes, who has joined this Krishna conscious movement, so his faith will be very less, no? His faith will be in very preliminary stage, very less, very komal faith. So, Prabhupada is writing eventually, while associating with other devotees and cultivating other regulative principles, devotional service, he should actually devotional service, and he should not remain a Kanistha. You should not remain a Kanistha. I know that. Okay, now whatever stage I have joined now. So in that same stage, so I am there even after 20 years also. I am on that same level or same faith is there. So I'm little bit falling bhakti, and side by side I'm having other engagements. So in that way, one should not be idle, but he should eventually come to the stage of Madhyama Adhikari. He should advance to the platform of Madhyama Adhikari. So now, who is a Kanistha Adhikari? Prabhupada is writing, he is situated in the lowest platform of devotional service. Because why? So he is, first of all, is interested only in worshipping the deity in the temple. He is interested only in worshipping the deity in the temple. Archayam eva haraye pujam yash shraddhaye hate. So he is faithfully engaged in the worship of the deity in the temple. But na tat bhakteshu chanyeshu. Na tad bhakteshu chanyesu sa bhaktah prakrita smrta. But who does not know how to behave towards devotees or people in general is called a prakrita or Kanishta Adhikari. So that Kanishta Adhikari is very inexperienced. He does not know how to behave properly. He is not mature. Okay. So maybe sometimes he will commit offense. He will become very angry immediately. He will be short-tempered, or in that way, in his ignorance, he will commit some blunder. So that's why that Kanishta Adhikari is in the lowest stage, and he's only having faith and he's only having adoration toward Lord, but he is not properly behaving with the servants of Lord. He only thinks, okay, Lord is only supreme, other devotees, he does not offer respect to them. He does not have that respectful attitude towards devotees. So that's why he is considered to be on the lowest stage. And after developing more faith, eventually, after his faith is increased, his chitta shuddhi, okay, happens while doing archana process. Then eventually while he will associate with other devotees, he will get to know how to behave with other devotees. He will become experienced. So, but in the initial stage, maybe he will not be having that type of attitude toward other devotees, but he will consider only the Supreme Lord, the deity form is the highest, and he engages in the service of deity only, but not he does not have respectful attitude toward other devotees, or he does not behave properly with other devotees. Okay. So this is the difference actually. Even though he takes initiation, or even though he chants the holy name of the Lord, but still he will not have proper attitude toward other devotees. Okay. So Kanta Krishna Prabhu,
Ji, yes,
one has to raise himself.
One has to raise himself from the platform of Kanistha Adhikari to the platform of Madhyama Adhikari. The Madhyama Adhikari is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.46 in this way. Ishvare tad dineshu balisheshu dushatsu cha prema maitri kripopeksha yah karoti sa madhyama. The Madhyama Adhikari is a devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the highest object of love, shapes, makes friends with the Lord's devotees, is merciful to the ignorant, and avoids those who are envious by nature.
Yes. So now here in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the characteristics of a Madhyama Adhikari is being mentioned. So how does a Madhyama Adhikari deals with these 4 types of devotees? How does he deal actually? So there are 4 types of people mentioned. First of all, Lord. So how a Madhyama Adhikari will reciprocate with the Lord? He will worship the Lord. Ishvare tad adhineshu. So he will, first of all, he will do prema. Okay. You see, Ishvare tad adhineshu. Ishvare is Ishvare. Okay. And the first line is the object, and how he will deal with that object. That is mentioned in the 3rd line of the verse. Okay. First line is mentioning the object of the activity. That is Ishvare and prema. So he will show love, or he will worship the Supreme Personality of God. Then tad adhineshu. So tad adhineshu means what? Tad is referring to Ishvare. So who are the servants of Lord? How he will reciprocate with them? He will be having maitri, or he will have friendly relationship with the devotees. He will make friends with the Lord's devotees. Whereas the Kanishta Adhikari, what he will do? He will not behave properly with the other devotees. This is the difference between a Madhyama Adhikari and a Kanishta Adhikari. Kanishta Adhikari he may be faithfully engaging in the service of the Lord, but he will not have friendly relationships with other devotees. because he is immature. He is in the neophyte stage. But the Madhyamadhikari, he will develop, he will make friendship with the Lord's devotees. Then Bali Sheshu. What is the meaning of Bali Sheshu? Bali Sheshu means ignorant or innocent. Okay. Innocent. Okay. Who is inquisitive or he is innocent, he does not know what is right and what is wrong. And he is ready to accept it. He is innocent. Balisha. So Balisha, Bala means what actually? Bala means a child, and child is innocent. So that's why in that sense only Balisha word is used here. So Balisha is like who has innocent nature, or who is very innocent, who does not know what to do, what not to do. So then what a Madhyamadhikari will do? He will be merciful to that innocent person, and he will deliver instructions about devotional service. So that ignorant person, that innocent person will start executing the bhakti process. So he's merciful upon him. And Dvishat Sucha. So how he will deal with the Dvishat? What is the meaning of Dvishat? Dvishat means envious people who are envious by nature. So what he will do? Upeksha. Kripa he will do to the Balisha or the innocent, and he will do Upeksha, or he will avoid, he will ignore the people who are envious by nature. Okay, especially those who are very much envious about the advancement or the progress Krishna consciousness movement is making. So who is very envious by nature. So that Madhyamadhikari, even that person will come and he will speak so much nonsense things, but then also, and he will be very much, he will criticize that he will find fault actually, what problems are happening in ISKCON movement or something like that. And then Madhyamadhikari will just ignore it because he is envious. He cannot see that advancement in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada is mainly mentioning the Asuras or the Mayavadis who are envious by nature. So Madhyamadhikari deals with these Mayavadis by just avoiding them, by just ignoring them. So in that, so this is the way how a Madhyamadhikari deals with these four types of devotees. Okay, we'll proceed further. Who is next? Yes, Soni Sadhuni Mataji.
This is the way to cultivate devotional service properly. Therefore, in this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami has advised us how to treat various devotees. We can see from practical experience that there are different types of Vaishnavas. Kanistha Adhikari, the Prakrita Sahajiyas generally chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, yet they are attached to women, money, and intoxication. Although such persons may chant the holy name of the Lord, they are not yet properly purified. Such people should be respected within one's mind, but their association should be avoided. Those who are innocent but simply carried away by bad association should be shown favor if they are eager to receive proper instructions from pure devotees. But those neophyte devotees who are actually initiated by the bona fide spiritual master and are seriously engaged in carrying out the orders of the spiritual master should be offered respectful obeisance.
Yeah. So here actually Prabhupada is mentioning this point of Prakrita Sahajiya. No? So Prakrita Sahajiya is another type of devotee. They are another type of devotee we can consider. And we can consider them on the stage of Kanistha Adhikari itself, because it's not at Kanistha Adhikari, like it's not that there are gradations, and also there are divisions within Kanistha Adhikari stage also. So Prakrita Sahajiya is a type of Kanistha Adhikari. So they generally chant Hare Krishna mantra, but still they show so many external symptoms, but they cry for Lord. And on the other time, when they are not engaging in that, what they'll be attached to woman, money, and intoxication. So even though this type of people, they chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but they are not actually properly purified. Their consciousness is not proper. Okay, their activities are not proper. So how do we have to deal with this type of people? Rupa Goswami is telling we have to just respect them within one's mind. Only mentally. We should not offer respectful obeisances, prostrate obeisances, not like that. Not physically we have to offer. No. Rupa Goswami is writing only mentally we should offer, and we should not associate with such type of people. Even though they chant Hare Krishna mantra, but because their consciousness is not purified, their activities are not purified, so that's why we should not take their association. And those who are innocent but simply carried away by bad association, so what a Madhyama Adhikari will do? Madhyama Adhikari will be eager to show favor. Okay, should be shown favor if they are eager to receive proper instructions from pure devotees. And eventually both those, but those neophyte devotees who are actually initiated by the bona fide spiritual master and are seriously engaged in carrying out the orders of the spiritual master should be offered respectful obeisances. So here now Prabhupada is mentioning regarding the neophyte devotees, so who are properly actually initiated by the bona fide spiritual master, and they are seriously carrying out the orders of spiritual master. So these are the high level of actually Kanistha Adhikari, or maybe you can tell, mainly high level of Kanistha Adhikari, because Prabhupada is writing neophyte devotees. So that's why we should think that here Prabhupada is mentioning about the high level of Kanistha Adhikaris. So previously, the Prakrita Sajiyas, they are situated on the very low level of Kanistha Adhikaris. But the last line Prabhupada is writing regarding the high level who are just going to become Madhyama Adhikari, or they are advanced in the Kanistha Adhikari stage. So they should be offered respectful obeisances. Okay, they should be offered. Obeisances means we should offer them closer obeisances. Okay. Now, Harinam initiation to neophyte. So Prabhupada is actually writing regarding that in ISKCON movement, in the Krishna consciousness movement, a chance is given to everyone without discrimination of caste, creed, or color. Everyone is invited to join this movement, sit with us, take prasada, and hear about Krishna. When we see that someone is actually interested in Krishna consciousness and wants to be initiated, we accept him as a disciple for the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. When a neophyte devotee, see, kindly hear it properly. When a neophyte devotee is actually initiated and engaged in devotional service by the orders of the spiritual master, he should be accepted immediately as a bona fide Vaishnava, and obeisance should be offered unto him. So neophyte devotee who is initiated and is engaging in the orders, in a devotional service under the orders of the Guru, he should be accepted as a bona fide Vaishnava. And out of many such Vaishnavas, one may be found to be very seriously engaged in the service of the Lord and strictly following all the regulatory principles, chanting the prescribed number of rounds on japa beats, and always thinking of how to expand the Krishna consciousness. Such a Vaishnava should be accepted as an Uttama Adhikari, a high level, a highly advanced devotee, and his association should always be sought. Okay. So among Madhyama Adhikaris or even Kanistha Adhikaris, eventually Kanistha Adhikari will proceed. When his faith will be increased, he will come to the stage of Madhyama Adhikari, because Madhyama Adhikari's faith is very strong and he's actually initiated and he follows the instructions of the spiritual master. So eventually Prabhupada is writing that out of many such Vaishnavas, a person who is actually seriously engaged and he follows all rules and regulations, he chants prescribed number of rounds on japa beats, and he's always thinking how to expand this Krishna conscious movement. Prabhupada is writing he should be accepted as an Uttama Adhikari, and his association should always be sought. Now, Prabhupada is little bit talking about what is Diksha. Yes, because again and again, the point is coming that a neophyte devotee who gets Diksha and he follows the instructions of the spiritual master, so he should be offered prostrate obeisances. Now, Prabhupada is writing actually what is Diksha and what is the necessity to take Diksha. Okay, so Prabhupada is quoting some of the Shastras. The process by which a devotee becomes attached to Krishna is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. दीक्षा काले भक्त करे आत्म समर्पण, sei kale Krishna tare kare atma sam. At the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders to the service of the Lord, Krishna accepts him to be as good as he himself. Diksha or spiritual initiation is explained in the Bhakti Sandarbha by Srila Jiva Goswami. Divyam Jnanam Yato Dadyat Kuryat Papasya Sanshayam Tasmat Diksheti Sa Prokta Deshikaistatva Govidai. By Diksha, one gradually becomes disinterested in material enjoyment and gradually becomes interested in spiritual life. Now, after explaining what is Diksha, Prabhupada is writing that what is the qualification when one should think himself that, okay, I am qualified, or when the Guru will think, okay, that person is qualified to take Diksha. So when one should be given Diksha, Prabhupada is writing, we have seen many practical examples of this, especially in Europe and America. Many students who come to us from rich and respectable families quickly lose all interest in material enjoyment and become very eager to enter into spiritual life. Although they come from very wealthy families, many of them accept living conditions that are not very comfortable. Indeed, for Krishna's sake, they are prepared to accept any living condition as long as they can live in the temple and associate with the Vaishnavas. What are the conditions for Diksha? So Prabhupada is writing, when one becomes so disinterested in material enjoyment, he becomes fit for initiation by the spiritual master. Okay. So eventually, when a person who becomes disinterested and he devotes his time more in spiritual activities, he is fit for initiation from Guru. For the advancement of spiritual life, Srimad Bhagavatam prescribes 6.1.13, tapasa brahmacharyena shamena cha damena cha. When a person is serious about accepting Diksha, he must be prepared to practice austerity, celibacy, and control of the mind and the body. If one is so prepared and is desirous of receiving spiritual enlightenment, Divyam Jnanam, he is fit for being initiated. Divyam Jnanam is technically called the Tad Vijnana, or knowledge about the Supreme. Tad Vijnanartham Sagurumeva Vigachet. When one is interested in the transcendental subject matter of the absolute truth, he should be initiated. Okay, Tad Vijnanartham. When one is interested about knowing Tad, what is indicated by Tad? Tad Vijnana means about a knowledge about the Supreme Lord. So when one is interested and disinterested in material enjoyment, he should be given Diksha. Such a person should approach a spiritual master in order to take Diksha. Srimad Bhagavatam also prescribes Tasmat Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttama. When one is actually interested in the transcendental science of the absolute truth, he should approach a spiritual master. Now, what Prabhupada is mentioning, how a person should not approach a spiritual master. What are the actually the motivations which are improper? Okay, what are the improper motivations to approach a spiritual master? So Prabhupada is writing, one should not accept a spiritual master without following his instructions. Nor should one accept a spiritual master just to make a fashionable show of spiritual life. So this is very important point actually. Prabhupada is right. It's not that a person is accepting spiritual master just to have some type of prestigious question. Okay, I have taken Diksha from such and such Guru, Maharaj, and in that way I'm very advanced. So one should not take Diksha just to make a fashionable show of spirituality. No. So what should be the proper attitude or proper motive to approach a spiritual master? One must be jigyasu, very much inquisitive to learn from the bona fide spiritual master. And what the inquisitiveness should be about? What inquisitiveness should be about? What are the inquiries? What should be the inquiries about? the inquiries one makes should strictly pertain to transcendental science. Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. You should ask about Shreya, not about prayer. Prayer is about material enjoyment. What is immediate benefit? You should not approach spiritual master for some material benefit. Oh, spiritual master, I have this problem. I have pain in my knees. I have problem with my hand or some. I have cancer. So please, give me blessing so that my problem will be cured. No, one should accept spiritual master in order to inquire about transcendental science. His inquiry should be about that. The word Uttamam refers to that which is above material knowledge. Tamam means the darkness of this material world, and Ut means transcendental. Uttamam, which is above material knowledge, that is transcendental. Yes. Saurabh Prabhu. Generally, people.
Are very interested
Yes,
in
Hare.
inquiring about mundane subject, but when one has lost such interest and is simply interested in transcendental subject matters, he is quite fit for being initiated. When one is actually initiated by the bona fide spiritual master and when he seriously engages in the service of the Lord, he should be accepted as a Madhyama Adhikari. After
see?
initiation,
So, yeah, 1 second. So, you see, Prabhupada is writing that a person who is who has lost such interest about inquiring about mundane subject matters and is simply interested in Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. He is fit for being initiated, and when he is initiated from the Guru and is seriously engaged in the service of the Lord, he should be accepted as a Madhyama Adhikari. Okay, so these are the characteristics of a Madhyama Adhikari. He has achieved, he has underwent the Diksha process and is seriously engaging in the service of the Lord under the orders of the spiritual master. Now, Prabhupada is writing, what are the things, what are the steps or processes after initiation? After a person takes initiation, how a person can chant his rounds more offenselessly, not offensively, but his motive or his desire should be what? His chanting should be more of like how he can chant the round offenselessly. Okay, so there are 3 stages of chanting: Aparadha, then Namabhas, and Shuddha Nama. So a person, his motive, a person who takes initiation, his goal should be what? His chanting should be more directed towards how he can chant his rounds more offenseless. And eventually, if he chants this round offenselessly, then Lord will bestow his mercy. So mercy will come automatically. Okay. Saurabh Prabhu, yeah, continue. Saurabh Prabhu? Yes.
After initiation, the steps, processes, chant, prescribed round offense Krishna is so that if one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantras of the carefully avoiding the 10 offenses, he can strengthen to the point of understanding that there is no difference between the and the Lord himself. One who has reached such an understanding should be very respected by devotees. One should know for certain that without chanting the holy name of the Lord offenselessly, one cannot be a proper candidate for advancement in Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
In
So
Shri
eventually,
Chaitanya Charitamrita,
1 second, Prabhu. So eventually, a person who has already achieved Diksha, so eventually he should have the desire that how his chanting can be more offenselessly. So here, after chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and carefully avoiding the 10 offenses, what will happen? He will gradually come to the point of understanding that there is no difference between the holy name of the Lord and the Lord himself. Now, since we are in the Kanistha stage or we are in the neophyte stage, we cannot actually develop, or that we cannot develop that taste. Now we don't have that taste of chanting the holy name. So after 16 rounds, okay, now enough, not more. Another round we will not chant. So we have that attitude, okay, that only 16 rounds we will chant, not more than that. Because in the present stage, at least in my stage, I don't have that desire to chant the holy name of the Lord more. Okay. So eventually, because we are actually afflicted with this material desires, we have so many material desires, and that's why that that taste is not getting developed. So for since time immemorial, we are there in this material world, and we are having so many desires and so many ambitions to fulfill. So that's why there are so much anarthas in our heart that we cannot actually relish the taste of the holy name, of the pure holy name. So that's why our devotees advise that a person has to avoid the 10 offenses, and he has to chant the Hare Krishna mantra offenseless. Then eventually he will come to the point of understanding. He will eventually realize more and more that the holy name of the Lord and Lord himself, there is no difference. Nam Namakari Nijas Bahuda Shakti. So all the energies are invested in this holy name of the Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Abhinatvam Nama Namino. A person, he has to come to the point of understanding. He has to actually realize this point, that there is no difference between the holy name and the Lord himself. The difference between Nama and the Nami. Nami means the person who has that name. There is no difference. So he has to come to that point of understanding. And that will come eventually when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra more in an offenseless mood. Okay. And a person who is chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly, he should be considered as a proper candidate for advancement in Krishna consciousness. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Yahara Komala Shraddha se Kanistha Jana, Krame Krame Tenho Bhakta Haibe Uttama. One whose faith is soft and pliable is called neophyte. But by gradually following the process, he will rise to the platform of a first-class devotee. Everyone begins his devotional life from the neophyte stage, yes. But if one properly finishes the chanting the prescribed number of rounds of Harinam, he is elevated step by step to the highest platform, Uttama. And what is the purpose of ISKCON? Yeah, of course. So now here, mainly the prescribed number of rounds. Prabhupada is mentioning that the Krishna consciousness movement prescribes 16 rounds daily. Because people in the Western countries cannot concentrate for long periods while chanting on beats. Therefore, the minimum number of rounds is prescribed. However, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that unless one chants at least 64 rounds of japa, 100,000 names, okay, 1 lakh names, he is considered fallen patita. According to his calculation, practically every one of us is fallen. But because we are trying to serve the Supreme Lord with all seriousness and without duplicity, we can expect the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is famous as Patita Pavan, the deliverer of the fallen. So this is the reason Srila Prabhupada actually reduced the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra from 64 to 16. Because in Western countries, people cannot concentrate for long periods while chanting on beats. And India is also imitating, Western civilization. So that's why Srila Prabhupada actually, he just normalized, he just told everyone to, chant 16 rounds. So even though according to the calculation of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Saraswati Thakur, so we are all fallen in one sense. But because we are serving the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with all seriousness. We are trying to serve and without duplicity. That's why we can expect mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So this type of change, from changing from 64 rounds to 16, this change can only be done by an acharya. Okay, by an acharya. So Srila Prabhupada is considered to be the captain of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's army. So he can do it. Not that okay after so not that any other person will change this from 16 to 4. No, only an authentic acharya. Okay, only a pure devotee can do such type of change. When Srila Satyaraj Khan, a great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, asked the Lord how a Vaishnava should be recognized, the Lord replied, Prabhu kahe jara yandra mukhe suni ekabara, Krishna naam sei pujya shreshta sabakara. If one hears a person say even once the word Krishna, that person should be accepted as the best man out of the common group. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, Ata eva janra mukhe ek Krishna nama seita Vaishnava kariha tandra sammana. One who is interested in chanting the holy name of Krishna or who by practice likes to chant Krishna's name should be accepted as a Vaishnava and offer respects as such, at least within one's mind. Then Prabhupada is giving one of his contemporary example, that is, okay, one of our friends, a famous English musician, has become attracted to chanting the holy name of Krishna. And even in his records, he has several times mentioned the holy name of Krishna. At his home, he offers his respect to pictures of Krishna and also to the preachers of Krishna consciousness. In all regards, he has a very high estimation for Krishna's name and Krishna's activities. Therefore, we offer respect to him without reservation, for we are actually seeing that this gentleman is actually advancing gradually in Krishna consciousness. Such a person should always be shown respect. So can anybody tell whom Prabhupada is talking about? Who is that gentleman? Who was that famous English musician while Prabhupada was present?
George Harrison.
Yes. The conclusion is that anyone who is trying to advance in Krishna consciousness by regularly chanting the holy name should always be respected by Vaishnavas. On the other hand, we have witnessed that some of our contemporaries who are supposed to be great teachers have gradually fallen into the material conception of life because they have failed to chant the holy name of the Lord. Then Prabhupada is going on explaining about the qualifications of a Madhyama Adhikari. So while giving instructions to Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu divided devotional service into 3 categories. Shastra Yukti Nahi Jani Dridha Shraddhavan, Madhyama Adhikari Sei Mahabhagyavan. A person whose conclusive knowledge of the Shastras is not very strong, but who has developed firm faith in the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and who is also undeterred in the execution of his prescribed devotional service should be considered a Madhyama Adhikari. So Shastra Yukta Nahi Jan, even though a Madhyama Adhikari may not have conclusive knowledge of the Shastras, that is not very strong, but whose Shraddha or his firm whose faith is very strong in Harinam and is very undeterred. Okay. His faith cannot be checked. So, who has firm faith and he is very much determined in the execution of devotional service. So, he should be considered as a Madhyama Adhikari. A Madhyama Adhikari is a Shraddhavan, a staunchly faithful person. And he is actually a candidate for further advancement in devotional service. Then Prabhupada is quoting about what is Shraddha. So again in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sudhrida Nishchoy Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. By rendering transcendental service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. This confident, firm faith, favorable to the discharge of devotional service is called Shraddha. Sneha Mataji can go on reading with Shraddha, faith in Krishna.
Shraddha, faith in Krishna, is the beginning of Krishna consciousness. Faith means strong faith. The words of Bhagavad Gita are authoritative instruction for faithful men, and whatever Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita is to be accepted as it is, without interpretation. This was the way Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita. After hearing Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna told Krishna, Sarvam etad ये क्या है प्रभु जी RTAM
हाँ, सर्वम एतद् मन्ये यन्माम वदसि केशव. Yes.
सर्वम एतम ऋतम मन्ये एना मम वेदसि केशव. Oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. This is the correct way of understanding Bhagavad Gita. And this is called Shraddha. It is not that one accepts a portion of Bhagavad Gita according to his own whimsical interpretation and then rejects another portion. This is not Shraddha. Ardha Kukuti Nyaya. Shraddha means accepting the instructions of Bhagavad Gita in their totality, especially the last instruction, Sarva Dharmam Parityajya Mamam Ekam Saranam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender into me. When one becomes completely faithful in regards to this instruction, one's strong faith becomes the basis for advancing in spiritual life.
Yes, go on, Mataji.
Process to realize. Chanting faithfully reveals Krishna. When one fully engages in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he gradually realizes his own spiritual identity. Unless one faithfully chants the Hare Krishna mantra, Krishna does not reveal himself. Sevan mukhe hi jivadav swayam eva spurate adaha. We cannot realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead by any artificial means. We must engage faithfully in the service of the Lord. Such service begins with the tongue, Sevan Mukhehi Jivadav, which means that we should always chant the holy name of the Lord and accept Krishna Prasada. We should not chant or accept anything else. When this process is faithfully followed, the Supreme Lord reveals himself to the devotees.
Yes. So then Prabhupada goes on explaining the qualifications of an Uttama Adhikari. You will just read it. Soni Sarjani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. When a person realizes himself to be an eternal servitor of Krishna, second, he loses interest in everything but Krishna's service. Third, always thinking of Krishna, devising means by which to spread the holy name of Krishna, he understands that his only business is in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Such a person is to be recognized as an Uttama Adhikari, and his association should be immediately accepted according to the 6 processes, Tadati Pratigranati. Indeed, the advanced Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava devotee should be accepted as a spiritual master. Everything one possesses should be offered to him, for it is enjoined that one should deliver whatever he has to the spiritual master. The brahmachari in particular is supposed to beg alms from others and offer them to the spiritual master. However, one should not imitate the behavior of an advanced devotee or Mahabhagavata without being self-realized. for by such imitation one will eventually become degraded. Know our level
Yes.
and level of
Go on, Mataji, go on.
know our level and the level of other devotees, including our Guru. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advises the devotee to be intelligent enough to distinguish between the Kanistha Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The devotee should also know his own position and should not try to imitate a devotee situated on a higher platform. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. One should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttama Adhikari. A neophyte Vaishnava or a Vaishnava or a a neophyte Vaishnava or a Vaishnava situated on the intermediate platform can also accept disciples. But such disciples must be on the same platform, and it should be understood that they cannot advance very well towards the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. Therefore, a disciple should be careful to accept an Uttamadhikari as a spiritual master.
Thank you. So, last Prabhupada actually describes the process. How do we have to faithfully chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and eventually Krishna will be automatically revealed in one's heart. Sevon mukhi hijabado swayam eva spuratyadaha. So a person who is faithfully chanting, he is having that attitude of service. Okay, starting with the tongue, chanting Hare Krishna and accepting prasada. Then Supreme Lord will reveal himself to that devotee. So then later Prabhupada is going on explaining about the qualifications of an Uttamadhikari. So his faith is very strong, first of all, and he loses interest in everything but Krishna's service, and he realizes that he's eternal servitor of Krishna. And Prabhupada is again and again mentioning this point. Before also he has mentioned that Uttama Adhikari is always thinking how to spread this Krishna consciousness all over the world. So he's devising different means. So how this Krishna conscious movement can be spread. And such type of Uttamadhikari Vaishnava, a person, he should accept Diksha Guru as okay. So Uttamadhikari Vaishnava should be accepted as a spiritual master. And then what a disciple should do to him, he should supposed to beg alms from others and offer them to the spiritual master. So he should serve basically to the spiritual master. And then Prabhupada is explaining not that one will imitate the activities of that Uttamadhikari. No, he should know his level first of all, and he should know the level of other devotees, how to reciprocate with them, including our Guru. And in that way, one has to, perform activities. So at last, Prabhupada is also quoting Bhaktivinoda Thakur that how an Uttamadhikari can be recognized. Uttamadhikari can be recognized by his ability to convert many souls to Vaishnavas. So you can tell, okay, how many Vaishnavas have you how many people you have converted into Vaishnavism. So through that you can get some practical hints to that effect that he is an Uttamadhikari Vaishnava. Even if you see in that sannyasa qualifications now in the present sannyasa ministry, so in that there is one point which the authorities see for the sannyasa candidate, that they will see how many devotees he has cultivated in devotional service and how many centers, how many organizations he has actually opened. So to that person only, sannyasa is being granted. Yes, then at last, a person who is not on the stage of Uttamadhikari, he should not become spiritual master. But at last, a disciple, he should, if he wants to take initiation, he should see that he has to accept Diksha from an Uttamadhikari. So in this way, in today's verse, we saw different types of devotees. Okay? And through that, we can actually understand whom do we have to associate and how do we have to reciprocate these 6 living exchanges which are mentioned in the prior verse. So not that if we develop or if we reciprocate our 6 living exchanges with Kanistha Adhikari, then it will not lead to advancement in Krishna consciousness, but it will lead to degradation. So that's why we have to choose actually. So Kanistha Adhikari, who has little bit faith, but who does not know how to behave properly towards other devotees, he should be mentally respected. And a person who is a Madhyama Adhikari, he deals with 4 types of people. So Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. Ishvare Tadhineshu, Baliheshu, Dishatsu. So he knows, a Madhyama Adhikari knows how to deal with such type of people. And an Uttama Adhikari, he is on the very high stage. So he is having so much faith, and he can actually defeat, because he is very expert in philosophical conclusions. He knows so many shastras, and he can defeat all types of people. So in that way, we can through this verse we can know whom do we have to associate, whom do we have to surrender our life, and we have to take spiritual initiation. So the qualifications of the Guru is also mentioned here. So with that, I would like to conclude here. If anyone has any questions, you can ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, can you elaborate on the whole process of who should take initiation?
Who should take initiation?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is the qualifications of taking initiation from a guru?
Yes. One second. So mainly, as Srila Prabhupada is telling, that in this Krishna consciousness movement, everyone actually, so that chance is given to everyone without discrimination of caste, creed, or color. And everyone can come, they can take prasad and they can hear about Krishna. So mainly, who is qualified to take initiation? So Prabhupada is writing that a person who is Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam, who is interested in spiritual enlightenment, who is interested in discussing about spiritual subject matters, who is inquisitive. So, and who is gradually becoming disinterested in material enjoyment. So while he develops little bit faith, Shraddha, Sadhu Sanga, and Bhajana Kriya. So on the stage of Bhajana Kriya, a person, he takes Diksha from a Diksha Guru. So while he develops faith, he associates with other devotees. He follows the instructions of the spiritual master. Yes. And he engages in all the activities. And in that way, he's interested in Krishna consciousness. He's asking questions. He's asking inquiries about spiritual subjects. So Prabhupada is writing, he is qualified to take initiation. Yeah. Also, in the point of Bhajana Kriya, and Sadhu Sangha, he has to follow the regulatory principles, such as chanting the prescribed number of rounds and following the 4 regulatory principles. In that way, one who is seriously engaged, eventually, then he can take initiation from the spiritual master. So this is the qualification of a person who wants Diksha.
So even if he is still associating with materialistic people, that's all okay still. But he's not, he's involved in all the other things, but he still has some, because 100% association, your family could be,
Yes.
could be a non-devotee, your,
Yes.
your parents. So you can't stop associating with everybody, right?
Yes. So yeah. So that's what actually in the previous verse, Dadati Pratigannati Prabhupada was mentioning, that maybe there could be some grihasthas who have to work outside, or you are telling and family, there would be not a favorable condition, favorable situation. So yeah, that's what. So we have to see actually, because it's not so black and white. So we have to do, everyone's cases are different. But Prabhupada was mentioning that even though you have to associate with non-devotees outside because you have to work and you have to maintain your family, but you don't exchange, you don't perform 6 loving exchanges with the non-devotees. You don't reciprocate with them in the sense dadati pratignati, accepting and invitations for accepting for, dinner invitations, or you are asking something to them about spiritual subject matters. You are inquisitive about them, so they will not give you good advice. So in that way, even though you have to associate with non-devotees because you have to work, you have to maintain a family, but how you can avoid that association? By not reciprocating them with that 6 loving exchanges. So in that way, you can actually little bit stay away from their association and take advantage of the association of devotees in ISKCON movement. So that is the point we can maybe, in that way we can understand.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so we'll conclude here by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Rupa Goswami Pada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Prabhuji.